You want to kick it off the first time?
Sure.
All right.
I'm Todd.
I'm Jim.
Welcome to our Performance-Pinewood Speed Tip series. We got a new series of videos to try to give you the best speed tips and race tips that we can so that you're ready on race day. What do we got today, Jim?
Our first tip is know your race rules. This is actually a very important tip. It seems simple, but it dictates your car building strategy. You want to know what your rules say, and more importantly, you want to know what they're not telling you.
Right.
The first part I can say is, do the rules dictate that all four wheels touch the track?
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
So if they don't say that you got to have all four wheels touching, what's our advantage? What's our reason that we would care about that?
Your strategy would be to build a car on three wheels. Three-wheel cars are faster than four wheels. That's pretty much a given across all Pinewood derbies. And if you choose not to go that route, you'll be contending with three-wheel cars, and your odds of victory are a lot slimmer.
Absolutely. And we go a little deeper into the three-wheel, four-wheel logic in some of our other videos, but essentially you're trying to reduce friction. You're getting that one wheel up off the track, so you've only got three touching, three slowing you down.
You bet. You're building what people would call a rail rider, where the back two wheels are on the track and only one of the fronts is, and the car steers into the rail.
Yep.
And at this point, it's the quickest way down the track.
Important to know though, because some BSA rules will say that you got to have all four touching, so you got to make sure that it says that. If it doesn't specify though, you might want to consider the three wheels.
Yeah. So if your derby rules do not call out all four wheels being on the track, you certainly want to look at building a three-wheeled car.
Absolutely.
And I say beyond that, you want to be familiar with what the rules are for weight. The typical Pinewood number is 5 ounces. Some derbies are different. Be sure to read that part. At the end of the day, the amount the car weighs is its horsepower.
Absolutely. A standard BSA rule set, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, is 5 ounces usually, and your block, when it comes out of the box, is going to cover most of that.
Yeah. I think all the standard contents of the kit weigh about 4.5 ounces. If you just were to take the factory block and the wheel and axle and put all of it together and do nothing else, you're about a 4.5 ounce car.
There are other races, open classes, church races, other races. We've had a lot of folks where they are looking for 6, 7, 8, 9 ounces.
Yeah.
Got to be careful with that. We'll dig into the weight placement and proper weighting later, but make sure you know what kind of weight you're working with on this, if they specify or not.
You bet. Another good area to look at is whether the rule set says that you have to use these factory grooves. If you do, you have to use the kit grooves. That would be the rules. If they don't say that you do, or that they say you can drill your own holes, I would certainly recommend you go that route. Cars that are pre-drilled with some sort of jig are typically faster than the grooves cut in the standard BSA block.
Well, and not only that, anybody that's built a BSA car out of the standard block and try to use these grooves, getting those axles into those grooves the right way, at the right angle, it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
it's really a pain. There are other types of tools that are supposed to help you get them in straight, or that you can drill, and it really is a pain. So not only is it faster and better if you can drill them, but you're also just going to have a lot better luck getting them aligned right.
You bet. The odds of the wheels being in the car, the wheels and axles being in the car square and going down the track in a better fashion, or straight,
yep,
if you will, are a lot better with a drilled block versus using the standard BSA grooves.
Yep.
Some other areas to look at would be what type of lubrication they're specifying. Typically at Performance-Pinewood, the things we're selling are all based around a standard Cub Scout Derby,
yes,
where the typical form of lubrication is graphite. If you're involved in a derby where you can do something different than that, the other popular lubrication out there is oil. If you want to buy something,
things,
yes,
but I've never had good success with that. Have you?
No. I mean, you can build an oil car and be successful, but like I said, typically that's not a legal car. Nope. In a Cub Scout Derby. If you were involved in a derby like that and you wanted something from us, please send us an email.
Yep.
But I will tell you that the products that we have on performance-pinewood.com are geared for graphite lubrication.
We can certainly answer any of their questions on any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Send us an email, but really, like you said, this is geared toward Boy Scout, Girl Scout type races.
Yep.
Standard BSA rules. We do have some what you would call black or gray graphite. It's a really standard, legal in all those races kind of graphite. If you're looking for a reference, just to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, we've had great luck with it. Very good performance. You know, I think most of the graphites are created equal, but we found a combination that we really like. Another area that you want to look at in the rule set, typically they're going to specify that you use the standard BSA wheelbase. If for some reason that they don't, and you're allowed to change that wheelbase, you can do an extended wheelbase car. They are faster.
So when you say extended wheelbase, Jim, you're talking about the wheels are further apart on that block.
Correct, and typically you move the rear one back a little bit and the front one forward a little bit. You end up at about a 5-inch wheelbase versus the standard BSA wheelbase, and that car will perform better on track.
Yep.
But,
not legal in a lot of BSA races.
I would
they
say
usually want you to stick with the standard.
My experience with my kids, and I believe yours is the same.
Well.
I've never seen where that was allowed. Have been involved in a few charity races where where the rule set was a little more lenient, and you could switch to that extended wheelbase. If this is allowed under your rule set, by all means, take a look at that option.
We're not telling you to do this. We're just saying here are some of the things that you may or may not see in your rule set, things to consider that might give you a boost, give you an edge. Last one is probably aftermarket parts.
Yeah,
most BSA races frown upon aftermarket wheels and axles. Yeah. And what we're talking about with aftermarket wheels and axles are polished steel, or wheels that have been thinned down, weight taken out of them, or some things that maybe aren't kosher with some of the rules.
Some races permit aftermarket or modified parts. Typical of the Cub Scout or Girl Scout derbies that we're all familiar with, they want you to use the contents of the box. They allow some prep. But they don't want any big modifications. Some really popular aftermarket parts to gain speed, and they do work.
They do.
Would be a stainless steel axle that's machined with grooves and so forth. They're straighter than the standard BSA axle, and they do provide speed. And as Todd alluded to just a little bit ago, there are folks that can lathe these wheels and remove weight, and that adds speed. They remove the distance across, which eliminates friction. But typically all of those parts are illegal, or generally, if you read your rule set, they generally are against the rules.
We don't want you to put all that work in and then get kicked out.
Yes, and some of them, if someone's familiar with their Pinewood Derby cars, the inspector, a lot of those parts give themselves away very easily. In particular, wheel modifications. There's print on the inside of the wheel. There's like a knurled line here, a bump line on the wheel, and if it's turned down, that starts to disappear. Someone who's familiar with Pinewood cars is going to catch that. And,
absolutely.
It's the only way to win the race is be in it. So we highly suggest you read your rule set. You know what you're doing, and you know what you can and can't do.
Absolutely, and that's what this series is about, to give you all the legal speed tips that we can to give you an edge up on the competition. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. We're going to put a link to our website in the comments below. If there's anything you'd like to see that we haven't covered or got questions, send us an email. We're happy to answer. Good luck on race day.